My name is Jackie Kennelly, or Jacqueline Kennelly is how I publish, but I go by Jackie. And currently I'm an assistant professor at Carleton University, which is in Ottawa, and I'm in the Department of Sociology and Anthropology. I'm in the second year of my faculty position there, just finishing the second year. I was in educational studies. I did my PhD there. I started in fall 2003, and I graduated in May 2008. I was supervised by Joanne Dillabo, and on my committee were Mona Gleason and Deirdre Kelly. It's really concerned with the way in which young people, what space they have in the Canadian public sphere to participate, to enact their citizenship. And so, in particular, the kind of core concern that the book raises is that the space for public engagement is narrowing, and but it's narrowing in very subtle ways, in ways that we might not necessarily recognize, not through overt forms of kind of state repression, although that does happen, particularly through policing, but through more cultural forms, including schooling, including education, as well as media representations, as well as the cultural lives of young people themselves and of activist communities. So the book is interested in tracing how that happens. The other part is an ethnography of youth activists. So I spent a year doing interviews, focus groups, and participant observation with young activists in the three largest cities in Canada, Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. And so part of the book is talking about how young people who have actually come to activism that challenges the state in particular ways. So I focused on anti-globalization, anti-war, anti-colonialism, and anti-poverty activists as self-identified. I asked them, if they felt that this description fit their work, and talked to them about their experiences of schooling, their experiences of citizenship education, also their experiences of activist cultures and why they came to activism and what it was like, and their experiences with policing, their experiences with older activists, all those things. What motivated the original study, what motivates my ongoing research, and certainly what motivated the book, is a sense of the importance of multiple forms of engagement, including activist engagement, in terms of promoting democratic public space. I think increasingly under neoliberalism, we live in a neoliberal. We live in an increasingly neoliberal country, and many places are under the kind of influences of neoliberalism, that sort of ideological practice which has become the norm, and it's become invisible because it's become the norm. My basic concern is that we need to maintain space for activism, that it is very important. And my concern is that we aren't, as a society, as a culture, as educators. And so the book, in some ways, is interested in understanding why that is, and understanding how it can be changed, and how we can create more space for activist practices, both from within activist subcultures themselves, which have their own exclusionary practices, as well as from within state sites like education. Education is always a contested space. It's not like it's kind of a monolith, but certainly I think increasingly there's pressure on schools to not promote certain kinds of activist practices, and so how to push back on that. I chose to do my PhD in educational studies because I was really drawn to the interdisciplinarity of the program. All of my degrees have been interdisciplinary, and what I liked about EDST is that it didn't position education or schooling or education as only happening in schools, right? It is quite explicit about the fact that education happens across multiple sites and influences people in various kinds of ways. And having been in different institutions, both before and after, I can really appreciate the quality of the education that I received in terms of training as a scholar, in terms of mentorship opportunities, in terms of opportunities to participate in academic life, at conferences or within the department, in department meetings, and the sort of social world of academia. It was a really good apprenticeship for me in terms of becoming a full-fledged academic, a scholar, to eventually get employment in this world and to be able to make my living doing this.